Heather from Fork in the Loaf, and today I want to show you, well first I want to show you my new toy. I'm a cast iron cooker. I love cast iron. And I just got one of these, so I just seasoned it. It's a pre-seasoned, and I seasoned it once. I'm going to attempt to make English muffins in it for the first time tomorrow, so I'm kind of excited. I'm going to do a full ferment sourdough English muffin. Let me just get this moved over and get the camera moved down. So to make the English muffins, I'm going to do something very similar to my normal bread recipe. And then tomorrow, when I go to make the muffins, I'll show you what I'm going to add to it to give it a little bit more of that English muffin-ness to it. So to start off, I'm going to go ahead and put in about a rough 2.5 cups. I'm going to put in about 1 cup of water. I'll leave just a couple tablespoons out. I'm going to put in, now my starter, I did not feed it yesterday. I wasn't really feeling very well yesterday, so I did not feed this yesterday. Part of the reason I want to make something today with it is because it needs to be fed. And so I'm going to add about a 1/2 cup to a cup of starter to this. And I'm going to add, before I put this away, I'm going to add 1 cup of flour. And I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of water. Leave that tablespoon in there. And then, I love this thing. This dough whisk is amazing. Okay. I'll just put that in there. Beautiful. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar to this. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. And I like to do a heaping teaspoon of salt. My handy dandy dough whisk. I get that all mixed up a bit. You guys, it's January. Sorry, I feel like I'm coming down with a cold. It is January, and I haven't done a video in a while. A few things have happened. I started going to work. I got a puppy. Well, let's see, work started. Got a puppy. And I got in my head, I think you just stop. I don't know. Doing the video editing and doing the videos is kind of hard. And if it's not, it's something I'm not super familiar with, sometimes it can be really overwhelming. I wish there was, there's so many people that do it online, and they do these little learning videos and how-tos and stuff like that. But even those are kind of a little bit on the overwhelming side. It's, all of them require these expensive programs or places that you can go to do all this stuff, which is great. But I don't want to do this expensive. So, I don't know, I just kind of, it's hard when you're getting in your own head about it. So, I'm just going to keep plugging along. A lot of the reason I want to do this is for my girls. I never really taught my girls to cook. I have a hard time with other people being in my kitchen with me when I'm in the middle of cooking. And so, my oldest daughter calls me often, Mom, how do I cook this? And I figured this is a great way for me to teach her how, is to make these videos for her. They always say to have somebody you're talking to, and I think when I'm doing a lot of these videos, I'm talking to her. Okay, so I'm gonna oil my bowl and leave this to sit on the counter overnight, and tomorrow morning I will come out and add the rest of our ingredients to this, and we will make these into English muffins. So I will see you tomorrow. Good morning. So it's the next morning. It's been about 12 hours. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I started this at 9:30 last night, so it's probably been exactly about 12 hours. So it is getting slightly on the overproof side, but that's not a bad thing. It'll be okay. I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of the stuff to this and show you what I do. So let me turn the camera down and I'll be right back. I'm gonna add some milk, powdered milk to this. And I'm gonna just add the whole tablespoon because I'm gonna add baking powder because it's kind of mild tasting. It's not as strong tasting as baking soda. It's got other things in it. It's got baking soda plus some other stuff. I'm going to do about a half of a tablespoon of baking powder. And now I've got my Danish dough whisk, and I'm just going to take it and I'm going to start incorporating it into here. And that baking soda or baking powder is going to react with the dough, and it's going to start breaking it up, kind of it'll just start breaking the gluten strands and making it easier to incorporate that. And I'm going to use my hand. Okay, so once I have all of the baking powder and the milk kind of incorporated in there, I am going to let that sit there for just a second while I prep my pan. And let me show you what I'm doing with my pan. I already have my pan on the stove, and I have it on a low heat. And I think I'm just going to move you over there because I think I can do the rest from there. I have my pan on really low. It's like on a 2. And so I am going to, I have some ghee, my usual, and I'm going to get all of these greased. You can use coconut oil, you can use spray oil, you can use really any kind of oil you prefer. This is just, I prefer ghee. You can use butter. Butter would make a great grease for inside of here. Make sure you get your sides and your corners really good. You don't need a ton, but you need enough in there where it's going to help that create that non-stick surface. I have this on my largest element, and it's getting warm, and I want it to be warm because it's going to help me raise them. While this is warming, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, which is kind of an odd number. So I'm going to take 1. There's 5. 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to take just a little bit from this one to make it. So see, they're all close to even. I could take my scale out, I could weigh each one, and I could try to get them all perfect, but like I said, this is my fast, easy, rustic way. Like this, I just want to, takes less dishes, takes less cleanup. But see, these seem kind of big to me. Yeah, I'll take them off just in case there's a smaller one. And I'm just going to shape them. I'm not going to be a perfectionist about it because I don't like to be that. I just want to get them done. And sometimes I'm just trying to get this done fast for my morning breakfast. You know, who has time to be perfect in the mornings? Uh-oh. I can't count. So I'm going to take some from that one, some from this one, some from this one, some from this one. See, I thought they looked too big. This is getting a little too warm. Okay, so this is on low. It's starting to get a little warm in there, and I can feel it. And it's going to start making these rise because, one, I've got the quick rising baking powder in there, and two, I have, you know, it's going to help it rise up a little bit. I'm also going to start my oven. I'm going to put it at 375. I have this wonky stove. Ugh, it drives me crazy. Even on 2, I mean, right now it's on, there's low, there's a half mark, and then there's 2, so 1. It would be 1. I have it on 1 right now, and this is going to get too hot. I don't know why as soon as my stove gets warmed up, it decides it's got to stay on hot. So I'm going to let this sit here I'm going to check it in 5 minutes. So, and by then my stove will be hot. And I will be back to show you. Okay, so it's been 4 minutes, and I'm going to just check underneath. And they are not even done enough for me to lift them up. So I'm going to add another 5 minutes to them. So ideally, if you have a stove that works properly, you can put these on a low to medium low, depending on how hot your stove is. And you can let them sit here for 15 minutes to cook on each side. My stove does not always work right. So I'm going to give it 5 more minutes and we'll come back and check it then. So my stove is making a liar out of me today. So I'm trying to get in here to see, and it's still, I mean, it's rising beautifully. Of course it's going to behave well today. I'm going to turn it up. So that's the first 10 minutes. I'm going to turn it up just a notch. I'm going to go from 1 to 2. And I'm going to set the timer for 5 more minutes, and let's see if I get a little bit of browning on the bottom and a sturdy enough crust that I can flip them over. So I will be back in 5 more minutes. Okay guys, look at how pretty they are. They're all risen pretty much to the top. So I'm going to try again and see. That's 15 minutes. And we are, just want to show you, so we don't have a brown bottom yet. It is starting to get cooked through though, and I think a lot of that is because my stove is all of a sudden cooperating with me. So I think I'm going to keep it on the 2 because it looks like it's starting to do the cooking process. I'm going to keep it on 2. If I go up anymore, it's going to burn. I'm going to go 5 more minutes. And the reason I'm doing this in 5-minute increments is because my stove is so awful. Often, I can't even make English muffins on my stove. I usually get a good brown crust right away. It rises them. I'll flip them, get another brown crust, and then I'll finish them off in the oven. But for some reason, today, my stove decides to cooperate. So I'm going to give it 5 more minutes, which will be at 20 minutes. And I'm going to be okay with that. I'd rather it be a little on the... Normally I cook my bread loaves about 30 minutes, so I do my English muffins about 30 minutes as well. This might go about 35 minutes. We'll see. We'll see how well it browns when it comes time to flip them. So I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes, and I will be back. Okay, so it has been 20 minutes, and they are starting to look like, kind of like they're supposed to, and they're still not brown. What is up? Now normally this would be dark brown. Let's see if this one's any browner. Well, look, that's starting to get golden. I'm gonna flip them. I'd rather, we can toast them and make them brown. They are cooking, so they're getting a little hard up there. Let me see if this will look a little better. Hot. That's a good sign. Okay, so I'm going to give this, I think I'm just going to start with 10 minutes. Although, because they're starting to brown, I'm going to do it in 5-minute increments, and I will come back when they're done. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. And look at, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So these are browning much better now. Why is my stove all of a sudden cooperating? So that has been about 30 minutes, but I'm not certain that they're all done. I'm gonna let them go 5 more minutes on this side, and then I think I'm gonna turn them over and do 5 more minutes on the other side, and then I'm gonna call it done. That would be 40 minutes, which isn't a bad thing. When you're doing artisan bread, you do it forever. So I'll be back. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes, and now they are browning beautifully. So I'm gonna turn these over. I'm gonna do 5 minutes on this side as well. See if I can get a little bit browner. I think they're pretty close to done, but I'm gonna give it 5 more minutes on the other side, see if I can get them a little darker. And I think I got to do it all on my stove, which never happens for me. So I'm gonna turn the oven off, set my timer for 5 more minutes, and then I'll be back and we'll open one up. Okay, so I did 5 more minutes, and look, they're nice and brown. Beautiful. Turn that up. I don't know why it decided to cooperate with me today. I think while we're waiting for those, I'm going to open one of these up. It's got quite the crispy crust. And the best way I know to do that you're supposed to do it is to use a fork. I generally will just cut the things, but I figured, let's do it the right. Okay, so that's the inside of, and you can toast these. One of my favorite things to do is to make breakfast sandwiches. This is my first time using this. Of course, you guys saw at the beginning that this is my new toy, and I do like it. I don't know if I like how narrow it makes them. I think I could learn to live with that though, because I really kind of like the way these turned out. And no, I don't think this is what's making it this way versus the stove, because I always use a cast iron pan. I think for some reason my stove is just cooperating today. I did make myself a breakfast. It is, so like my sausage patties are that big and my English muffin is that big. So it's cute. And it's going to be a beautiful breakfast sandwich. But I wanted to show you what the end product looked like. So hopefully this works. It's perfect. All right, so that's how I do my English muffins, and if you notice, I've got about 10 of the projects already started. So thank you for joining me on this adventure of a fork in the loaf, and I hope you give this a try. I do this on a normal cast iron skillet all the time. I don't know about using other kinds of skillets. I don't use other kinds. I have a stainless steel skillet that I use, but I don't do like nonstick. Try it. The thinner your skillet is, you got to be a little more careful because there's more heat to it. So I guess just pay attention to how heavy bottomed your skillet is. And then if your stove runs hot like mine does normally, not today of course, but if it runs hot like mine does, I will brown them on each side, and then I will pop them in the oven and make sure they get a good 30-minute cooking. Otherwise I end up with really doughy middles. So for some reason my stove was beautiful today. Anyway, my daughter. So we are done with our English muffins. I'm glad I got to use my new little toy with you today, and thanks for joining me. Hit the subscribe button, share this on social media, and share it with all your friends. Thank you.